If you've ever looked at a student's writing and thought, okay, I can see what they need help with, but what do I actually teach them next? This update is for you. One of the hardest parts of teaching writing online is not just assessing the student, it's turning that assessment into a clear, practical lesson plan and putting that together so that you don't have to think about it every single week. It's already set, you know what you're going to do for the next 8 weeks or 10 weeks. And so in this video, I'm going to show you two new Teacher Hub features that work together, the writing assessment and the custom learning paths. The goal is simple: help you assess where a student is, decide what they need, and create a plan that you can actually teach. Hi, I'm Megan from Florentis Learning, where I help independent online ESL teachers save prep time, teach with more confidence, and use structured, ready-to-teach curriculum for young English learners, teens, and we even have some new adult lessons. If you teach ESL online and you're looking for practical tools, lesson ideas, and systems that make your teaching life easier, make sure you click the subscribe button below so that you're notified of all of our new videos. So, writing progress can be hard to track. With speaking, parents will often hear the improvement. They say, "Oh, yes, my student spoke words, now she speaks sentences. She used to speak only for a short time, now she can speak for a long time." With reading, they may see the student reading more fluently, they may hear them reading more fluently, they may hear them reading more difficult books. But with writing, this can feel a little more hidden. And a student might be improving in sentence structure, spelling, organization, grammar, punctuation, or idea development. But unless you have a clear way to record that progress and explain it, it can be hard for parents to understand what's actually happening. And as teachers, it can also be hard to know what to do next. Do we move on to paragraph writing? Do we review sentence structure? Do we need more grammar support? Do we need phonics or spelling review? Do we need more guided writing before independent writing? And that's exactly why these two new Teacher Hub features are useful. And so the first new feature is the writing assessment tool. Now, we've always had a free writing assessment that we offer as part of our placement package. And so if you don't have that yet, I will put the link in the chat right now for you. And I will make sure that it's linked in the video description as well. And this includes not only the writing assessment, but it also includes our our general English assessment tool as well. So both of these are here in our free ESL placement assessment tools course. And so if you don't have them, grab them today. They're completely free. They're yours for life. You can do whatever you want with them. Once you've got them, you can use them with all of your students and sort out a baseline. Now, one of the things when you complete the ESL placement assessment, and essentially the assessment can help you identify what the student can do well, what they need help with, what their next writing goals should be, and what kind of practice or lessons they need next. And this is especially helpful if you teach Cambridge aligned writing skills. And if you're preparing students for exams, or if you're helping younger learners build stronger sentence and paragraph writing over time. So once you've done that, the real value of an assessment is not just having information. The real value is being able to use it and to communicate it and show your professionalism to parents. So instead of finishing a writing assessment and then thinking, okay, now what? The Teacher Hub will help you move into the next step, which is planning and communicating that information. So you might assess a student and notice they have good ideas, but their sentences are very short. And that tells you that the next step might be sentence expansion, adding details, or using conjunctions. Or maybe the student can write sentences, but their ideas are not organized. And so that tells you that they might need paragraph structure, sequencing words, guided planning tools, or maybe they struggle with spelling and sentence control. And you might need to then add in some phonics review, some grammar practice, and short guided writing lessons before you get into longer writing activities. So the assessment helps you identify the need, and then the learning path will help you turn that into a plan. And so I'd love to know, share it in the comments below. And if you're catching the replay, share it in the comments anyway, because I would love to hear your answers and respond to it. And I'd also love to adapt our tools to better meet your needs. But when you assess writing, what is the hardest part? Is it knowing what level they're at? Maybe it's choosing what to teach next, explaining that progress to parents, or finding the right lesson materials. And let me know that in the comments below. So let's take a look at the writing assessment tool. And so this is in the Teacher Hub. The Teacher Hub is a paid add-on with Florentis Learning. And but it's $4.99 a month, and it does so many things. If you're not sure about the Teacher Hub, you can always reach out to me, happy to chat, or check out some of our other videos. And we have lots of videos that provide you with an overview of the different functionality of the Teacher Hub. But this is a brand new tool. So you have always been able to record assessments in the Teacher Hub. And now you have a custom template that's aligned with our ESL placement assessment so that you can actually record the results of that assessment and get some really interesting pictures and visuals that you can use to communicate with parents. So I'm sharing just the screen of my demo students. Obviously, you'll notice that they have completely fictitious names, things like Marshmallow and Sandy Beach and Smart Test and Lollipop. So let's work with Marshmallow today. And over here under the actions menu, you've got a few things. The first one is to record a progress note. The second one is to record an assessment, which is what we're going to do just in a second. The third one is to issue a certificate. The fourth one allows you to put the student in active, which moves them from your active student list to your inactive list and actually puts them on your leads and opportunities tracker as well. And then the fifth one is to delete them. Once you delete them, they're gone. You can't get them back. So obviously use that button with caution. And so we're going to choose the second button here, which is to create an assessment. And so when I click on that, it's going to take me to the assessment screen. And you'll see that some of this is already filled in. Now, some of you may have seen videos before where I've shown you how to record the general English assessment. And our general English assessment is as simple as choosing general English assessment and entering their score, and then scrolling to the bottom and choosing pre-fill. And it will pull a whole bunch of information in for you and automatically populate it. It's super cool. But let's take a look at what we do now with our writing assessment. And I'm going to make it just a little bit bigger for you. So I will hide my head. And I think I'm just going to use my plus. That looks better. Okay. So you can see now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change it to the writing placement assessment. And when I change it to the writing placement assessment, what happens is you actually get a rubric that appears. So you get some information here. Score each criterion using the rubric. 1 needs improvement, 2 is good, 3 is excellent, and the scores calculate automatically. Now, if you're using our writing assessment tool, there are some questions, but then there are 3 writing tasks. And the intention is you only do as many of these tasks as your student is ready for. And so if they really struggle with the first task, you're not going to go on to the second task or the third task. If you get through the second task, but you don't really think they're ready for the third task, no problem at all. Skip it. So when you come in here, the first task really is 5 to 7 sentences. It's just a short paragraph about something that's a common, familiar topic. And what you're going to do, so you've selected writing assessment, you've got this whole placement piece that pops up. You're now going to just select your ratings. So if you're just joining the live stream, we're checking out the brand new writing assessment tool in the Teacher Hub. And I would encourage you to drop a note in the chat. Let me know you're here and where you're watching from. So for grammar, I'm just going to choose the grammar. I'm going to say they had a 2. So I'm going to say, yep, it's good. It's not excellent, but it's good. And their vocabulary use was right on. They knew how to use the words. I'm going to give them an excellent on that. And I'm going to give them a 2 on their sentence structure. And you'll notice that it's automatically calculated here for you, 7 out of 9. And if you scroll to the bottom, you'll see that it's already starting to add those up for you and build this really cool little placement graph. Now, we did decide to do the second task just to see how this student would fare out. And their vocabulary use, this was about descriptive writing, right? And in this case, getting them to talk about through all of their senses and to really be descriptive. And so in this case, they struggled with the descriptive language. Maybe they told me the beach was hot, and but they really had difficulty sort of expressing those ideas. Their grammar and syntax, they had maybe a few more mistakes in this. Maybe they struggled with some comparisons. Their vocabulary use was pretty good, and their sentence structure was okay as well. And I'm going to say, you know what? I decided this was where I was going to stop. So again, you'll notice the automatic calculation, and we did not do task 3 with this particular student. If you do task 3, and we'll just talk about it, task 3 is an opinion exercise. And so they're expressing an opinion, they're writing a paragraph about that. And you'll notice we now have coherence and flow. We also have opinion. So we're getting into more areas for you to calculate. And when we do that, you'll see we've got our tasks automatically added. They have 13 out of 39. And this is the automatic calculated area, which if you look at what they're able to do at an A1 SEFR level, they're able to write a short, simple postcard or fill in forms with personal details, and they can write simple personal messages. And if they have been writing multi-sentence responses and some descriptive detail, we'd need to consider whether we want to increase any of these scores in order to move them up. But you can see our A2 range is 16 to 22. We're at 13 here, so we would need 3 more points. And this is pretty plausible if your first activity you decided they were perfect on this one. And so now we're sitting at 15. And so in this case, I would be even more like, should they be A1 or should they be A2? And in the end, I tend to err a little bit on the lower level so that we can see faster improvement. But right here, right away, you've got this really nice visual that's been created to support this. Now, the other thing is that you can give some skill ratings. And in this case, I probably am not going to rate the speaking, the reading, or the listening, but I am going to rate the writing, and I'm going to give them maybe a 4 for their level. And this is one that you can use personally. You want to make sure you've got some consistency in how you use the stars, but the stars are on your progress notes and the stars are on all of your assessments and that sort of thing. So from this, I can either just save it or I'm going to create a learning plan. So I'm just going to say create a learning plan from the assessment, and then I'm going to save the assessment, and it's going to take us to the learning plan page. And the learning plan is great because it's a really great tool to communicate this information to the parents. And so we are going to have maybe 1 writing class a week, and my classes are 25 minutes. And because we're very focused on writing, I'm going to look at this list of items, and you can add your own all together, or you can just go with these ones which are clickable. These are based on the SEFR levels and are there and ready for you to grab. So I'm going to say maybe that they do write simple sentences and short notes as a strength. And then for areas for improvement, I want to maybe extend their sentence length, and maybe I want to improve punctuation and capital letter consistency. So I'm just going to grab those. So when I click those items, you'll notice that they appear in this box, and you can edit this. So maybe I don't want to write about routines and preferences, but maybe I want to change it to routines, preferences, and daily life, which is sort of routines and preferences. But anyway, we'll put that. Or maybe I just want to change this altogether just to be daily life, just to be simpler for my parent. Keeping in mind, again, this is a fictitious student. Student's name is Lollipop. Now you have an opportunity here to put your comment in. And so I would encourage you to do that. So on her writing assessment. And one tip for teachers who are maybe using AI, AI can be really helpful if you take their writing assessment and actually put the paragraph in. I do encourage you to use a paid account, which does help to protect the information. But one thing I would do is I would not put the student's name in. So instead of putting in, Bob or Michael, just put in something like Lollipop. And then after you get your paragraph, you can always just edit that out to be correct. Because the parent has asked me specifically for writing lessons, I'm just going to choose short-term goals out of the writing section. But if I am doing more general ESL, then I will pick things from all of the topics or 2 of the topics or 3 of the topics, sort of depending on what's happening. And so we're going to work on short notes and messages, and we're going to work on using correct punctuation in a 4 to 5 paragraph sentence. And you'll notice, again, these are populating here already. And I do have a sample A2 goal: stronger listening, reading, short text, and writing clear messages. So you can leave that or you can edit that. And I'm going to share it on the Learning Hub. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with Florentis Learning, we do now have 3 levels of writing lessons available. These lessons are available for you, ready to use, and I certainly would encourage you to check these out. So the writing lessons are there. We're continuously adding to them as well. And if you're new to teaching writing, or you're just looking for something that is ready to use, grab the free sample pack for Florentis Learning. And the free sample pack is available. And I just realized I did not share. I shared the wrong link for the ESL placement assessment. So I'll make sure I give you the right link for the placement assessment. I'm just on my test site and I shared you the test site link. But grab the free sample pack because there are sample writing lessons in there and you might find that those are great. So I think what I'll do is I'm just going to share in the chat for everyone the bundle. So this bundle includes the ESL placement assessment and the and 26 lessons, which includes lessons from each of these courses. I'm going to probably use a combination of these. I might jump into a little bit of the pre-beginner for some of the punctuation and grammar. And I might even pull in some of the grammar lessons. We do have grammar lessons as well, but I'm probably primarily going to use the elementary lessons. So I'm just going to select that and I'm going to save the learning plan. So as you can see, fairly quick to complete. We've got now a learning plan created. And oh, I was working with Marshmallow, not Lollipop, but that's okay. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to go switch back to the main hub page. And there we go. And I'm just going to make this smaller so it fits. That doesn't fit very well. We'll go back to this view. So we're going to go back to the main hub page and I'm going to go to my students tab. Again, keeping in mind I am on my staging demo site and I'm just going to go to the parent link. So I'm going to open that. I'm just going to have to change my screen share for that. And I'll show you what that looks like. So when we come to the parent link, you get your teacher card up front. It's got your messaging information, all of those things. And the parents have this nice home tab, which shows sort of their stats. It shows, you'll notice here, their writing level. This is what we just did. And their writing score, which is right here as well. They don't have any lessons scheduled yet, but there's an encouragement to book a lesson. And this button actually would link to whatever booking system you prefer, or there is a new booking system you can use here as well. When we go to the progress and plan, look at this. This is where we have, here's our strengths. Here is our focus. We can expand and see our goals and the teacher comments. And you'll see that we've got our writing skill rating, and we've got the assessment date and writing skill. If you also then use the general assessment, the assessment information will appear here as well. And if by chance their writing level and their general English level end up being two different levels, that's okay. What will happen is you will actually end up with both boxes showing on the parent report, one indicating general English and one indicating writing. And sometimes that does happen. We have students whose writing skills are substantially weaker than their reading or speaking skills. And so we do have this bit of a difference. Obviously, in the real world overall, that means they're actually at the lower level, but we are then communicating that information to parents in a little bit more of a balanced manner. The other thing is, and I'm just going to switch back now to off of this one, but over to our original one, which is, let me just switch. Stop. All right. Yep. So we're back here. And from here, I am going to just show you how you get to a printable version of that. So if we go to the student profile, we click on their names, it takes you to the profile, and you come down here, you will notice that we actually have under plan and progress, you've got right here, here's your writing assessment, and you've got your plan and your edit plan. Now, obviously, I made a mistake. I put my wrong fake student in, but if it was a real student, you'd want to make sure you put the right name, and in this case, you could edit it. But if I actually go to this button, View Plan, this is what I get. So I get this nice viewable thing. Here is that nice writing assessment chart. It's got some information on what we're working on, the classes that we put in. So very, very, readable for a parent who may or may not speak English very well. And you also do have a printable version of that. So you can create a PDF version and share that with the parent. So that is our writing assessment tool. So you would use the free writing assessment available in our bundle, and from there you are going to add that to the Teacher Hub. Teacher Hub is a paid add-on. Currently, it's only $4.99 a month. And if you purchase the complete classroom curriculum and get all 785 lessons, plus the Teacher Hub, you do get that for a discount. So watch for that when you do that. But it certainly does simplify your parent communications. Now, the other piece that I said that we wanted to talk about really was our learning path. And so the second new feature we've got is our custom learning paths. And our custom learning paths let you choose up to 10 lessons for a student and create a short-term lesson plan. Now, you might be thinking, oh, well, do I have to only use the lessons from the Florentis writing lessons or from the Florentis curriculum that I'm using? And the answer is absolutely not. The custom learning path is set up so that you actually can create your own perfect sequence. But that means that when you come in and go to start, it's like, oh, I know exactly what I'm doing. It's all in one place. It's ready there for you. And so the custom learning path is important because sometimes students need to pause and review. Sometimes they need extra support. Sometimes they need phonics. Sometimes they need speaking practice. Sometimes they need to have a reader for some extra reinforcement. So you can use something from our readers library. Sometimes they need a core lesson, a test prep lesson, or something connected to an outside resource. And so with custom learning paths, you can actually organize these steps in one place. So instead of having a general idea like we need to work on writing, you can build a visible plan, and then you don't have to think about it again. You've got 10 lessons planned out, you're all set to go. So after a writing assessment, you might create a learning path that includes a sentence expansion lesson, a paragraph planning lesson, maybe an opinion writing lesson. Maybe you're going to pull in a reader and look at comprehension, discussion, and then have them write about the reader. Maybe you want to pull in a grammar review lesson and then do another follow-up writing task. But it gives you a nice, clear path to follow. And it is something that helps parents see, because you can actually take a screenshot of that and share that with the parents so that they know what's going to happen if you want to. But it helps them see their strategy behind the lessons. And I know I've been using custom learning paths with one of my students. She's a very young learner. And I was so excited last week because she was reading her first words, decoding words like sat and pat and tap. I'm sure everyone's been there, but she was super excited. And so I was super excited. But um, with this update, really, that's one of my favorite parts, right? It really does help with parent communication. Instead of saying something like, we're going to keep working on writing, you can explain your plan much more clearly. And you've got it documented. You don't have to think about it again. You don't have to consult 10 different places. You can say, here's what I noticed in the writing assessment. Here's what your child is already doing well. Here's what we're working on next. And here are the lessons that we'll use to support that goal. This feels more professional, and it also helps the parents understand the value of continuing lessons with you. They're not just buying another class, they're buying a learning plan. They're buying something with a measurable goal. And so at the end of these 8 sessions or at the end of these 10 sessions, this is what your student will have accomplished. And for independent teachers, being able to sell a goal matters. It helps you build trust. It helps you explain your teaching decisions, and it helps families feel confident that there's a clear path forward. So let's imagine you have a student that can write basic sentences, but their writing is very repetitive. Maybe they write something like, I like dogs. Dogs are cute. Dogs are fun, right? They might not need a completely new level of curriculum right away. Maybe our focus is going to be using words like and because, adding adjectives, right? And so with the writing assessment, you would then, after that, build your custom learning path, and you might focus on sentence expansion. And so, if you were doing that, and a lot of my writing lessons do sort of pop up out of my head, which, I then try and translate those and put those into lessons that teachers can take and use out of our curriculum. But I've been teaching writing for a long time, and I do find that that's useful. So, I'm just going to clear this old one, and I am going to add a writing plan. So this is our custom path here. And so we're going to build a learning path. And so you'll see, I'm going to give it a path name. So this is going to be sentence writing, or how about, let's go with something fun. Writing longer sentences. This is a very clear goal. So our goal then, our learning goal is going to be to write sentences that are 5 to 7 words in length, and use words such use describing words and give reasons. So that's going to be what I'm going to write. And again, that's optional. You don't have to do that, but you certainly can. So the very first thing you can do is you can select the course. So I'm just going to grab some of the writing lessons that we have. So I'm just going to go writing. And this is going to be, now I might grab something from the beginner lessons first, and I then might go over. So we've got a super sentences unit, and I want the description. I want, so my student really loves turtles. So I'm going to start with my pet, or my dream pet. And you notice that they've got lots of fun activities. So we're going to go with this one. Outside my window is a really awesome one for description, but we're just going to use this one. And this student is already sort of at the next level. So I'm less concerned about doing all of them, but I do want to do the description one as well. So I've got those in here, and you can add some teacher notes to yourself too. Now we're going to add a custom step. And so this one is not going to be a specific one. And so I'm going to call this one sentence expansion with because. And maybe I have I want to use a book. And so I'm going to have read the book, right? And then write a paragraph, and then write a paragraph about something, okay? And then maybe we have a complete the because worksheet of 5 sentences. Now you'll notice you can have links, you can have your teacher notes, you can all sorts of things. But I can add this to the path, and now you'll see I've got it right here. I've got my first 3 things, and I can keep going. I can continue to build my path until I have my 8 classes or my 10 classes, and everything is here. I'm just going to save it. And the nice thing is this also becomes visible in your live teaching mode. You've got a little checklist you can check off as you do things. And you've got your information here. It's all ready to go. And so that is our custom learning path function. As I said, I've been using it also for my beginner student because I like to switch between level 1 and phonics. And so I use it to flip-flop back and forth. So if you're already using the Teacher Hub, I'd encourage you to try the writing assessment and or the custom learning paths with one student. And let me know what you think. I would really love to hear whether it works for you, whether you need some adjustments, some tweaks. I'm always making changes to the Teacher Hub based on teacher request. And in fact, the custom writing assessment where you put all your rubrics right in, that came as a request from a teacher who said, yeah, I did it. But why isn't there one like the general English assessment, which, has things and gives me things? And I was like, okay. So send me your ideas, send me your questions. If you're watching, let me know if you think this is helpful to you and how you'll use it. Remember, if you're new to Florentis Learning, you can grab our bundle at florentislearning.ca with the placement assessment and the free sample pack of 26 lessons, and explore the free sample resources and learn more about how the Florentis Learning curriculum can support your online ESL teaching business. If you have questions, if you want to see other Teacher Hub features, if you want to see videos on other things, let me know. But in the meantime, check out this video from last week on a reading comprehension strategy, preview and predict. And I will see you next time. I'll hopefully see you again later this week. Thanks, everyone, and have a great day.